Have you ever wondered what it's like to be able to say you've been a podcaster for a decade? Well, if that's the case, then I have something for you today. I'm sitting down with Darren Earlywine, a client and a friend who has been podcasting for over a decade. The lessons that he's learned, the highs, the lows, the ins and outs, it's what we talk about today. And I can't wait to share this conversation with you. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get to it. Mr. Darren Earlywine, here in your set, but in the wrong chair.
It feels familiar yet awkwardly unfamiliar.
You're just, on the other side, but
I don't know what to do looking at my left the whole time.
I know. It's like you're gonna wake up tomorrow, crick in the neck. It's gonna be awful. So, well, man, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us, chat a little bit.
100%.
I wanted to start this conversation by framing up a little bit of what got us here.
Yeah.
Right. It was, I don't even know what year it was. I'm not even pretend I know what year it was, but I call you up. I'd been in your sphere a little bit of what you were doing. You were doing some pub theology stuff. You were a pastor. Just the way that you presented the world and the way you saw things was super interesting to me. And I think at that point you'd either I had taken it or was about to take your spiritual DNA course, just about who I was created to be and like just finding purpose and meaning. I called you up. I was like, I don't know what this means, dude, but I feel like we got to work together.
Yeah.
And you had some random guy named Darren call you up and say, I want to work with you. And it's like, okay, what does that mean? Which is kind of odd, but that kind of started a relationship over the last handful of years of just figuring that out.
Yeah.
Obviously in ministry side of things and coming alongside of you. And at that point in my life, I was a musician, like trying to make the music thing happen.
Yeah.
And then we step into walking through spiritual DNA. I'm trying to figure out how I can help you grow this thing. And it's just kind of been this really beautiful, like friendship over the last handful of years.
Yeah.
And one of the big things that you have helped, and especially in your coaching now that you do, is you really helped me understand not only who I was created to be, but also kind of find a little bit of purpose and meaning in the work that I do and the way that God's kind of put me together to go, oh, I actually kind of make sense a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's start there. Like the journey that you've been on these last handful of years, even dating back to when you were a full-time pastor, of going, I want to help people understand their calling, their mission, who God created them to be, and how to just infiltrate this world in some positive ways.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that journey and what kind of sparked that for you.
Yeah. So one of the things we talk about in whether it's our Spiritual DNA online course or the workshops, and also with the work we do with Rogue Collective and the coaching, one of the things you talk about in understanding living a life of passion is that oftentimes the roots of your greatest passion are found in some of your greatest pain.
So true.
And feels counterintuitive, and also, I'm trying to come up with a better vocabulary word, but just scary.
Yeah.
Most of us, when we go through some kind of season of pain, struggle, like we bury that, we hide from it, we think it proves that we're broken or flawed, we're not worthy, all these things. And so the interesting thing for me of how I got into it was the process for me, to find my own purpose was kind of painful. And so that's where it started for me, of like being in my, having a death of a dream. If you can read, I have a book called Death of the Dream, if you want to read it.
Shout out. Pick it up.
Pick it up on Amazon. But it was a deal where I went through a death of a dream that I'd had since I was in third grade. And the pain for me at that point was in that first probably maybe 4 to 5 years stepping into, I became a church planner. And all of that, I just kind of like felt like I was kind of falling down the stairs of life to get there, and didn't feel like I fit in that role. I didn't really understand anything that was unique about me, which is interesting. I mean, I'm a pastor's kid, grew up in church my whole life.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't remember a lot of sermons or a lot of, times that we went to somewhere and they were like, listen, God took a lot of care in creating you, right? And if you don't know the unique ways that you've been put together, like you're kind of guessing your way through life. And that's how I felt. Like I was just kind of guessing my way through life. And couple times I guessed right. A couple times I guessed wrong.
Yeah.
And so that's where the real genesis for me was this journey I went on of like, man, it seems like I keep reading in the Bible that I'm supposed to make sense, but I don't understand that. I don't feel that. I'm not living in that. So the process I took myself through to discover that began to really pay a lot of dividends and show, understanding purpose, passion, and living with a sense of peace, living with a sense of momentum in my life, and seeing things start to really scale up of like, okay, I'm doing what I think I'm created to do, and I'm actually seeing positive results, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, this worked for me. Maybe this would work for others.
For sure.
And so put together the Spiritual DNA course. We started taking people through it at the church plant that I had started. I took a couple hundred people through it. Then I went to a large mega church here in town. That step was a big step towards stepping into even further into who I felt like that had created me to be. Yeah. Went there and was like, man, I don't know that this would really help anybody. All of a sudden, we take about 2,500 people through the course over the next 4 years. And
I guess it did help.
Yeah, I guess it did help some people. And then I started hearing more testimonies that sound a lot like mine. And I'm like, okay, I think God's given me, he's given me a gift here in this understanding to, any good thing that comes to me and it's on its way to someone else, right? Yeah. So finding that connection just brought me to life, man. And so that was the process for me. And then honestly, dude, like getting to walk this journey with you I think if we really get seriously on the dates, it's been probably at least a decade, if not more.
Easy.
And honestly, Coop, your journey has been one of the more inspiring journeys that I've gotten to be a part of watching. We came into each other's lives as friends, not knowing in the next, whatever it was, I don't know, maybe 24 months or something, you were about to experience a pretty aggressive death of a dream.
Yeah, for sure.
Watching you walk through that and watching you in a place of liminality, maybe we'll say, of life. You didn't run away from God. Like you dove into your faith. You dove into, I got to make sense of this pain. And getting to walk with you through the process of the past decade of, you discover a little bit more about yourself. Then you've had the courage to go, okay, I don't know where this is going, but this makes sense right now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lean into what
for sure
my gifts and abilities are. I'm going to lean into what I'm passionate about. Okay, this takes me down this journey. Now it comes to a place of like kind of at a fork in the road. But every step of the way, dude, you have made the next best decision you could make to step into at that level, the clarity that you had. And obviously, I used to talk about this, and just that word jumped into my, sparked a memory. I think it was Mother Teresa she had a kid. I used to tell the story in Spiritual DNA. I should bring it back. But he came to her and he said, Mother Teresa, I really would like you to pray for me for clarity on what this next thing of season of life is. She said, I'm sorry, I can't pray for you for clarity. And he was kind of like taken back a little bit.
Yeah.
And
how dare you?
Yeah, how dare you? Right? You're Mother Teresa. But she said, but I will pray for certainty. And you may think, well, those words mean the same thing, but they don't. And they don't practically in how we step into becoming who God's created us to be. And what I've seen in your journey, Coop, is like you weren't real clear. You didn't have clarity on what the next step would be or where it would go. But every step of the way you've made with the certainty of, I know who God's created me to be. This makes sense in that context. Yeah. And I have a certainty. This is the next step. Clarity? No. Certainty? Yes.
Yeah.
And
that's well said.
And man, it's been a joy. And then what's been phenomenal is when you came to me and said, I want to work with you, it was like, I've had that happen before. and I'm not
I sound like that weirdo, man.
I'm not saying that in like an arrogant way, just like it's happened before. Yeah. And there's times where you go like, well, I am glad that means a lot to me that you would feel that
there.
Right. But when you said it, there was something in my, heart, soul, or mind or strength that was like, yeah, there's something here.
Resonated.
And dude, you have been an absolute critical part of helping us build what we've built, that at that point I was super unclear of what I was doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Certain, but super unclear. And dude, you have been such an integral part of being able to enable us to build so much of the purpose-driven ecosystem that we built over the past, decade or so. And yeah, man, it's just been a phenomenal journey, man.
Yeah, it's good. I love it. It's been a great joy and such a catalyst in so many ways of doing what I'm doing today. Right. I always joke that you kind of allow me to like test ideas on you and the content that we're doing, and then it's like, oh yeah, that did work, or no, that was terrible, we shouldn't do that anymore, and so you've been a good guinea pig for us. But and somebody might be listening going, what the heck is coaching with content? We talk about podcasts and content creation. What are we talking about? Purpose and meaning and all that. But I do think a lot of the folks and the folks that we work with, people like yourself, go, hey, we have a message. We have something that burns inside of us. And it is a little bit more than just building a business or just starting a podcast or just creating content. It is more of like a mission-driven piece to what we do behind it. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation with you.
Yeah.
And so before we go into the content side and the podcast and some of the things we've been able to do over the years, talk to somebody that's out there that's wrestling. Maybe they've had a death of a dream. Maybe they're going, man, this just isn't working. What I thought I was supposed to do is not working. What would you say to them? How would you encourage them? And maybe even one little step that they could take.
Yeah, Coop, where my brain goes is, I think a great starting point for people, especially, I guess I was going to say if you're an adult, but I would say even if you're 17, you maybe you're about to graduate high school or wherever you're at in that, is one of my mentors, Dave Gibbons, helped me understand the differentiation between occupation and vocation.
Yeah.
And I think when we feel stuck, things aren't working, whatever, usually I think we process that as something's wrong with me. Then it's probably my job.
Yeah.
Because we define ourselves so much by what we do.
Correct.
We're like, oh, it's the job. If I could just get a job that could make me feel like, if I had a job that had great purpose.
Yeah.
And they look at their job and, whatever you're doing, I get a chance to work with a lot of people in what we affectionately call a dirt world. So, heavy civil construction, asphalt, concrete, directional drilling, anything that comes out of the dirt. And I always ask them, when I'm teaching them, of like, hey, give me some jobs that if you had that job, that occupation, you would go, oh,
there it is.
I've got great purpose, right? That job has great purpose. And people, it's the same answers every time. Doctor, nurse, first responder, teacher, right? Yeah. Well, if I, maybe somebody in the ministry, man, if I wake up every day and I was fighting fires and I was on an EMT crew saving lives, that'd be it. I'd be like, I've got great purpose.
Yeah.
Well, go interview a bunch of those people and ask them if they wake up every day and they're complete at peace because their job creates, probably not.
Right.
And then I kind of say it in a joking way. Okay. Like I just got done speaking to some people on it, that are in the asphalt industry, and they were like, they said all the same answers. I was like, how come none of you said asphalt?
Right.
And they kind of uncomfortably laugh. And I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, I guess you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, you're just going to get 40 to 70 hours a week. You have no purpose. Best of luck. Hope you make money because your job sucks.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lie we believe, because I think we're human beings. We're not human doers. If we were a human doer, well, then your life is defined by your occupation.
Yep.
So you better choose right.
Yep.
And so I think oftentimes we get to a place where the job's not fulfilling, the externals aren't filling the tank for us. And so we think, if I fix the externals, I'll get what I'm looking for internally. Incorrect. It won't ever happen. We don't become who we were born to be from the outside in. It's always inside out. And so we have to come back to understanding, as human beings, we have a vocation. The root word there from the Latin is vocare, which means calling.
Yeah.
We have a calling on our life, and the reality of that vocation of humanity, in my opinion, the vocation of a human being is love. And that may sound, too touchy-feely and like, oh, we're going to just go give everybody hugs at the job site.
Yeah. And you tell this to dirt world folks.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Lots of strong beards and flannel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's how we're going to start, guys. Just give everybody hugs. And it's like, that's not what I'm saying. But what it comes back to, I say this quote all the time from Gary Smalley. He says, life is relationships. Everything else is the details.
Yeah.
That's your life. Your life is relationships. And so you come back to the place of going, here's the reality. If I can understand the three sides of this triangle, then I'm loved by God. I need to understand how to receive his love and love myself. Then I can begin to love and serve others. And the reality about that vocational calling is if we can get clear on that, certain on that, that calling can find its way into any career.
Yeah.
But not every career is going to produce the realities of that calling.
Yeah.
So if you're at a place right now and you're just feeling stuck, like, oh, what is like your first decision, isn't what new job do I need? The first decision is I need to start getting clear on what is my sense of calling? Who was I created to be? For me, I help people answer the 4 core questions of life. Who are you? That's identity, right? Why do I do what I do? Those are your core motivations, usually core motivations motivated by a core fear.
Yeah.
What do I do better than millions of other people? And where do I find my greatest passion? You start answering, with certainty, those 4 questions. Honestly, I don't think your occupation even matters.
Yep. You see it completely different at that point. Life begins to open, right? It moves beyond just what you do as a job. It moves into something so much more. And that's what I've been able to experience over the last few years of working with you and alongside of you, is just seeing that not only in my life, but in so many others.
When you've had quite a few jobs in the past decade.
Oh, for sure. We've gone all over the board.
Yeah. But you haven't changed.
Yeah.
The core of who Darren Cooper is has gotten more certain and clearer.
Yes.
And stepping in with more confidence, right? And none of the adventures and changes and little inflection points occupationally created any of that.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Now they may have helped. They may have helped edit a little bit.
Sure.
Step into something to go, well, not quite.
Yeah. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had that. I've had quite a few jobs. It's like that's one of the difficult things. But what do you do? And I'm like, well, kind of a pastor, author, podcaster. I did radio. I do bar ministry. I'm a drummer. I'm a corporate purpose coach, keynote speaker guy. And I would say all those different occupational adventures, they have helped me edit down to like, I think this is my lane. So I'm not saying that occupation is completely, doesn't help. It's just not the silver bullet.
No, it's not. It's not the 100% of it. There's so much more around it, and that's what I love. And something that you talk a lot about that I think is helpful here in this moment, if somebody's feeling stuck, is you use the term compassionately curious.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I've been trying to do this in my own life over the last few months of like when things feel sticky, when things kind of hit a wall or feel uncertain, I try to take a step back and I go, what's actually going on here? And I start to ask questions about what is really going on. And I become very compassionately curious. And I love that. Is there anything you can break down with that?
Yeah. Well, who's the meanest person on earth to Darren Cooper?
Oh, the guy in the mirror.
Yeah. Darren Earlywine's the meanest person to Darren Earlywine. Yeah. We're the most critical, condemning voice to ourselves on the planet.
All the time.
And so what happens is when we get in a place on this planet, in our own life, where we're stuck, well, we're beating the crap out of ourselves all of the time. And it's like, man, I can't find any momentum. Well, if you could separate yourself and go, okay, Darren is now Darren's best friend.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be your best friend for long. You'd be like, bro, every time I hang out with Darren, I walk away feeling mean. I'm so depressed. He never says anything nice to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it does remind me of how stupid I am and how many failures I have. And so I think a part of how can you take a step becoming compassionately curious to yourself if you're being in a place of being stuck, right, is just role play for a minute being your best friend. Right? Who's the most encouraging, nicest person in your life? Maybe it's your mom, dad, best friend, roommate, wife, husband. It doesn't matter who it is. but take on that role in your own mind and go, okay, if I was having a conversation with the nicest person in my life that believes in me the most, what would this conversation sound like? And I guarantee you what you would start seeing is a lot of compassionate curiosity. Like, I'm not going to condemn you, right? I'm not going to critique you on this. Like, I'm going to be like, I'm compassionate. Okay, all right, well, and then I'm just going to ask you questions. And it's amazing. Anything in your life, if you feel stuck, what I would encourage you to do is go to the most dominant negative emotion. What's the most dominant negative emotion? Then start asking compassionately the question why in that. Ask why about 5 times. And when you get to the answer to that 5th question about the thing that is your worst emotion, then you'll start actually getting to a place where you're beginning to untie the knots that are keeping you held captive in that.
That's good.
And probably a little tip for you. Once you get to that 5th why, you're probably going to be looking at some kind of false belief about your identity. And that's the deep end of the pool.
We are there. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to go there.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And the thing that I love about my connection to Jesus is, and I think that's the coolest thing, is when he talks about, like, that he'll never leave us or forsake us. It's like getting to the place of really unlocking the true treasures of life. It is a very, very, it is a journey that requires immense amount of courage.
Yeah.
And it's a journey that I don't think human beings can actually accomplish alone. Because I think we were created for and by a relationship.
Yep.
So looking at that, it's like, oh, do I need faith in my life? So is it what I have to go to church every week and try not to be bad? No. How about this? The invitation is there's a God who knows you, loves you personally, made you, created you on purpose and for a purpose, and he's actually offered to walk with you in a personal, intimate relationship to the scariest places of your life so you don't go there alone, so he can actually help you process the pain and struggle in your life and then lead you, literally, like the offer, like what a freaking offer.
Yeah.
The God who created and sustained the whole universe, that loves me, that created me on purpose and for a purpose, is like, hey, would you like a mentor? Would you enjoy a guide?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where I'm going. Okay, yeah, I know that. That's what I'm here for.
That's where we're.
So let me help you replace all the lies you believe about yourself or your career or your spouse or whatever, or your past. If we walk together, here's what I want to do. I'm going to exchange the lies that you believe that are causing all the fear and the shame and the guilt and the condemnation. I'm going to systematically, over a long process, replace those with what's true about you, what's true about me, and what's true about others. And here's going to be the beautiful thing. When you start to know truth, that truth will set you free from where the places that you get stuck in your life. I mean, I don't know anybody that would not want that. Like, hey, would you like to live with freedom and peace and confidence? Like, yeah,
please sign me up.
Okay, sweet. Well, that's like Jesus being like, that's what I do.
Yeah. Man, that is so good. And we could talk this shop all day long because this stuff jazzes me up.
Yeah.
Hey, quick pause here. If you are thinking about starting a podcast or have already started one and it's not driving business results like you would like it to, we would love to help. At 1898 Creative, we install a proven podcast system, a strategy that helps you leverage your message to attract premium clients without adding more to your plate. So if you're ready to turn your podcast into an authority engine, book a call over at 1898creative.com and let's build something awesome together. All right, now let's get back to the conversation. What the heck are you having this conversation about on a coaching with content, podcast? But I think it boils down to, like I was saying earlier, that we have a lot of folks that are listening have this mission, this thing inside of them. And sometimes they don't know what to do with that. They don't know how to get that out into the world, or they feel stuck, or they're walking it alone. And what you just outlined is a way of finding peace and finding fulfillment beyond just the number game of impact, right? You might, I make true impact because my YouTube numbers are big. Well, not really.
Right.
Like, this is how you make impact. And this is why this conversation and why I wanted you to sit here with me today is because it's so important to see here. If we want to make impact in our lives on other folks, it starts here.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful part of this. And so let's turn just slightly left here and talk a little bit about, okay, this is your mission. This is your voice, the thing that you have in trying to bring out into the world. A handful of years ago, we decided, I guess you decided to do this through the form of a podcast. Mm-hmm. What was it about that medium? Because I hear you say, and I hear a lot of clients say, I don't want to be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a content creator. I don't want to be an influencer. I want to have influence, but I don't want to be an influencer.
Yeah.
So what was it about this kind of medium that stuck out to you on why you went with it?
I think it started that I was consuming a lot of podcasts. And I was like, okay, the people that I really look up to, that I really want to learn from, like, I am so grateful they have a podcast, because I can't call them. I mean, I could, but like,
not going to get through.
Right. I can't call them every Saturday when I'm mowing for an hour and say, give me your best stuff for an hour.
Yeah.
Right. It's not accessible.
Yeah.
So what I loved about podcasts was, man, I learned so many amazing things because somebody that had a message took the time to sit down and make it available. So I was like, okay, this works because it's been working for me. And I think some of it for me too was like, I wanted to find a medium where I could make the content and messages that I felt like I was supposed to bring to the world, that they were free, they were globally accessible, and they were evergreen. It's, term that you educated me on. They're there all the time.
Yeah.
And so it's been crazy to me. I was just talking to a buddy the other day, and he's like, man, I'm back on episode, and I don't know, like, it was a long time
ago.
Back when we were doing the radio theology stuff.
Oh man. So yeah. Cause your podcast has had a couple of different iterations.
Yeah.
But in this current iteration, we're 200 plus.
Yes.
At this point. And so if he's back in radio, it would be.
He's back in 2018.
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah.
So I'm like, bro, you got about 6 years of content that, I mean, I'm not hating on what we've done before, but I'm like, if you're enjoying this, I'm like,
just wait,
the good stuff's coming. But, so it was just a process of knowing, like, this can be, like, that blows my mind that he's like, dude, I'm loving what I'm learning. Yeah, and so the opportunity, if you're trying
wait.
Okay.
2018.
Yeah.
He tells you, I'm loving what I'm learning.
Correct.
In 2026.
Correct.
That says everything right there. Yeah.
And I was like, what? And then what's funny is to get on, the back end of our podcast and see, it's like, we'll see, however many hundreds of downloads, just, in a week or in a month or whatever. And then you'll pull up like the episodes, and like the current episode, I'm like, that's only like a third of the downloads that have happened in the past week.
Yep.
And realizing, it's because there are hundreds of people, right, consuming content that we have produced and put out there over the past, over a decade.
Over a decade.
So that really was something that that I loved. And for me, I mean, a lot, we have, some of them are talking head type podcasts. Sometimes, a lot of times I'm interviewing people.
Yeah.
And I love that part too, of being able to allow other people's message to get out, as well as, to glean and to learn, from them.
100%.
So it was just, all of that just made a lot of sense. And
made sense.
It's freaking a lot of fun too.
Oh man, so much fun. And I was there at the kind of the spark of taking the Darren Early Wine podcast into like putting it on video and getting it on YouTube and doing that whole thing. And it was just, for me, from my seat on the bus, was like, bro, you have an awesome way of communicating faith and purpose and meaning and all of that. We have to get this in front of people, right? Like, this is a way to get it in front of people.
Yeah.
And it just made sense because we're not spending thousands and thousands of dollars to try to figure it out. It was like, you communicate really well. What's a good way of communication? Okay, podcast, boom, let's go. And it's taken on over the last decade a bunch of different iterations, right? But ultimately, it's impacting people where they're at through this medium.
Well, and I think one thing for me was interesting, Coop, is like for 3.5 years, we had a radio show on the number one pop station in Indianapolis. 3 hour every Sunday morning.
Yep.
And
it's just wild.
Which is crazy when I think about it, right?
So wild.
And access to 1.2 million people.
Yeah.
Right now, we're 1.2 million people in their car listening to the radio, on Sunday morning.
Sure.
No. Sure. So, we won our time slot a handful of times, you know what I mean? Which was awesome. But what I began to realize, even in the radio, because I could see somebody who maybe is thinking about getting into podcasting, and like, man, if I could just have a radio show,
right?
Then I
just
really
do that.
Really changing the world.
Then I would be where it's at,
right? Well, I had a radio show for 3.5 years, and what I realized is that when you're on the radio, like they talk about, there's like I think it's 4 tiers of listeners. Like you're tier 4. You mean you're a background noise?
Yeah,
completely.
Yeah.
Right. Pour your heart and soul into everything you say on the radio. And it sounds like this.
They're yelling at their kid in the back.
Yeah.
Sit down.
No idea. Like level, I think it's tier 3. Like they probably know what station they listen to. Tier 2, right? They actually know the radio station. They are kind of listening. They might even know your name.
Yeah.
Right. Tier 1, they love it. They call in like,
yeah.
And in your brain, as you're creating 3.5 hours of content to be on the radio, thinking, man, potentially we're reaching 1.2 million people. Well, you're not reaching 1.2 million people. And if however many tens of thousands, maybe we're reaching every week, the amount of tier 1 listeners, very small. Now, we had some really cool stories of life change
100%.
from those people. But then realizing, well, when you're on a podcast, like, well, what's your reach? 1.2 million? No, it's the globe.
A little bigger.
And when is it broadcast? Whenever they want to listen. And are they tier 4 listeners when they're listening? No. They found you. Yeah. They want to listen. And when they listen, they're not distracted. Like you're
great.
And so
that's so good.
That's a part of, I think that was, I know we were doing some podcasting before we did the radio.
Yeah.
Then we tweaked it in that process. But it's like what I began to realize is that, man, and here's the cool thing. A couple of years ago, our show went away in 2020 with the pandemic. We decided not to come back and do it again. About 2 years ago, brand new station manager came in and said, hey, everybody's talking about how great the show was. Would you be interested in coming back and getting back on the radio? And I was intrigued, right? Because it's fun. But it didn't take me very long to go, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, no, you have an opportunity to have a radio show on the number one pop station in your city. And for where we were at, what we're doing, it was like, no, we're good. We've got the podcast.
We'll find our audience.
So it's been a really, really interesting, eye-opening thing. But I couldn't be more bought in to what we're doing podcast-wise. And we'll keep doing it for a long time.
I love it. And so a couple of weeks ago, we had one of our new clients, I think Dave Rodriguez, in that just started his podcast. I mean, it was episode 2 when we sat down with him, right? Yeah. Now you're on the other side of this. We are a decade in, over 200 of this current iteration.
Yeah, prior to that,
podcast.
God knows how many.
Prior to that, probably double that. If so, we're hundreds, if not thousands, of episodes in of what you've done over the years. Talk us through like the journey of that, the highs and lows of that. Maybe some things that you're like, man, this was really cool, but also like, this is kind of some things that I wrestle with too. Like, give us the behind the scenes, if you will.
For me, I've never had a negative of creating the content. I love that. If you're a content creator, coach, consultant, whatever, you need something that is forcing accountability on you to stay fresh.
Yeah.
Right. In what you're learning, what you're reading, what you're consuming, so that you can bring it to people. So I've loved the accountability that, I got to have something fresh. I got to be growing. I got to be ready to bring content. So the accountability of that I've loved. Yeah, I think some of the struggle, and you have helped me with this, Coop, is the whole vanity, metrics deal.
Yep.
You crank it out, you put it out there, and you see the download numbers, and you're like,
really,
bro? Right?
My mom listened again.
Right. But one thing that helped me, and maybe this will help, a content creator, is if you can envision whatever your download numbers are, right, are in a room with you.
Yeah.
So let's say you put out your 3 episodes in and you've got 30 downloads. You're like, what the freak am I doing?
Yeah.
30 downloads. Okay. Well, if I put 30 people in a room with you and you got to deliver the content that you delivered, right? Would you walk home? Would you drive home that day being like, what a waste? If you had 180, if you had 500, if you had 1,000, like
changes it.
Because the thing is, if you were in a room with 1,000 people, right? That would be a big deal to you.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are as a speaker. Like, there's not a lot of people that speak to rooms of over 1,000 people.
Right.
And the reality of that helping you get your mind around, like, these are real people consuming the content that you really, really care about. And if it's 30 to begin with, it's 30 to begin with, right? But if it's 30 every month and it's 30 different people and you don't know where they are in the world, like, and so I think that's been getting that perspective. You helped me with that. And I think a part of it too is, you've been beating this drum forever of consistency. And we have been consistent.
Yeah.
And, finally now, and you and the team have also helped me understand there's some genius behind how you post things and what needs to be included.
For sure.
And I needed you. Without you, we don't have the numbers that we have now. We don't have the impact we have. Because for me, like, I talk in front of cameras and in front of people. And after that, I get a little bit loosey-goosey on the details. So to have a team where it's like, okay, you do what you do best, then get out of the way. We'll get it to where it needs to be. And you guys have learned that. So just like, what is cool now is, like, we have the consistency. I don't get bent out of shape over the numbers. But the really cool thing is the consistency, the professionalism, like, that we are delivering content that resonates with people. Like, we're looking at numbers now. We're like, okay, things are moving, And I love it. If you're listening, you are a coach, you're a consultant, whatever. One thing I've loved about it too, and this has started happening just because we've been coaching in the current format for about just over a year now, is when I'm out coaching, I'm like, hey, listen, there's a lot of great content on our podcast, or I just add it as like a little appetizer over here or whatever. And the thing I love is when I'm coming back, month after month for coaching, and people are like, dude, on the way to work today, I was listening to episode whatever. And man, in that you said, and I'm realizing, wow, like, the value add of this is I'm here for 90 minutes a month with you. But those that are grabbing onto the podcast, like, I'm actually now, mentoring and developing them for hours on end prior, in between. So to have that kind of
that's huge.
Tool, that kind of resource for people.
Yes.
Bro.
So good. And I love that you brought that up. And that's what, the title of the podcast is Coaching with Content. And that's what we try to continue to encourage, is that's literally what you just said. Your content is now coaching them when you're not in the room. And then when they show up and you are in the room, you better believe they're paying more attention. They're taking notes. They're doing it. They're locked in now. And and you also pointed out the fact of just like vanity metrics, numbers, and all of that. And I love the framing of, if it's 200 people and they were in a room, you'd be thrilled. You'd be thrilled. And I think a lot of coaches and consultants wrestle with that because, or I guess I should just say podcasters in general wrestle with it because you want to see those numbers grow. But ultimately, if 200 people you get to talk to and one of them raises their hand for your high ticket offer, those 200 now, all it takes is one, right, out of those 200. And it can literally be a game changer for you. And that's why I think I've loved the fact that you've committed and stayed consistent with it, because you're going to see those things happen where people start to go, oh man, episode 57 was a life changer for me. And you're like, I don't remember what I said at 57. You know?
Well, and for a coach too, I'll say this for somebody is one thing I've loved is like I talk about that accountability of the content is there's been quite a few concepts that I've gotten to take out for a test drive on the podcast.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like I think this is what I want to do with this, but I'm not sure before I'm in front of people. Like, let me just be able to have, and I'm very comfortable in this, in this environment.
Yep.
If somebody's brand new to podcasting, maybe I don't know, I doubt they're more nervous in a room with one person than they are with, 50 or 60 people. But it's really helped me because it's been like, okay, I'm going to test drive this out on the podcast, tweak it now. Okay. Now it's going to go into something I'm going to present, in a coaching environment. And then the beautiful thing about that, and there's been vice versa. I've created content that I use for coaching and then been like, okay, we're going to bring it back to the podcast. Whichever way it happens, the reality is now you have an opportunity. People can go in and like, hey, I know we only have 9 minutes today. I want you to go back and listen to this. We have a 4-part series on this exact thing.
So good.
So it gives you so much more flexibility and the ability to allow content to be present. On demand, 2:00 in the morning in their PJs, right? Mowing the lawn, whatever.
So good.
And if your heart is to coach, consult, guide, inspire, like it makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense. So, well, Darren, as we land the plane here, what would you say to somebody, a coach, consultant, somebody that has this message that burns inside of them and that is kind of on the fence? I don't know. I don't know if that's for me. What would you say to encourage them today?
Takes me back to before I wrote my book, The Death of a Dream, available on Amazon and Audible as well.
Ooh, yeah.
Is the imposter syndrome piece I was thinking is, I can't write a book. No one's going to read my book. Who wants to hear my story? And I'm sitting down with Emily Sutherland. She was a great writing coach and partner with me in this process. And she took us through this storytelling workshop. And I didn't know what she was doing when she was doing it. But after the fact, I was like, that's genius. So she goes around the circle with everybody and she says, I want you to tell me your favorite book, your favorite movie, the person whose story inspires you the most, whatever. And so everybody goes around, you're hearing movies that you also loved or books that you read that changed your life, whatever. And she goes, okay, now I want you to imagine that movie, that story, that access to that person's story doesn't exist. And you could just feel like the sorrow in the room of like, oh my gosh, like that movie, that book, that story changed my life. What if that person wouldn't have told the story? Like, and she's like, okay, now I want you to put yourself in that. And she said, and the way you feel about not having access to that person's story, I was like, she's like, now think about it. Would you be willing to go for this process so that just one person could be impacted by it? And
wow, that's powerful.
Everybody in the room was like, yes.
Yeah, like, let's go. Where do we write?
I would do it for one person. She's like, man, that's all you need to know. Because more than one person is going to read your book. Now,
oh my goodness.
Are you going to be a New York Times bestseller? We're not talking about metrics, right? And you didn't just say, I didn't ask you, what's the most amount of money you've ever made in your life?
Right.
Or how famous do you want to be? It's none of that. It's what's a story? What is some content, if you will, right, for the podcast? What is some content that changed your life? And what if the person that
what if they weren't there?
What if they weren't there?
Wow.
So, I'll say that to your listeners, or your watchers, viewers, do that by yourself. Think through that. Like, what are the stories that have changed my life? What is the content that's changed my life? What if that person had sat in their, on their couch and said, no one cares? Like, I guarantee you that person that's inspired you, they were dealing with the same resistance. They were dealing with the same imposter syndrome that you are right now, but they pushed through. They chose pain and discipline. They chose courage. They chose to call Darren Cooper and say, make me my podcast.
Ooh, shout out.
Yeah. So I would say that's something to think through. And for me, that was the push of momentum I needed to go. I'm writing this book.
Man, that's so good.
Yeah.
What if their story wasn't there? Wow. Because that defeats imposter syndrome relatively quickly, like just if you can think of it that way of like, man, I got to do this. I got to step up and make that happen. So
yeah, for one person.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, Darren, talk a little bit about, I know we spent a majority of the top, this podcast talking about purpose and meaning and all of that. You have a coaching process called the Rogue Collective that you've launched this last couple of years, taking some people through. How can people get a hold of you, learn more about that? If they're stuck, if they're going, crap, I need to do something, where can they go?
Yeah, go to roguecollectivecoaching.com. roguecollectivecoaching.com. And there's a tab on the homepage that says a book a discovery call.
Yep.
Book a call with me, 30 minutes. We'll jump on, get to hear a little of your story.
Yep.
Awesome. Talk a little bit about what we do and see if it's a match, if something we can help you out with. If you're at a place where you're like, I don't know if I'm ready for coaching and that, whatever, just go to DarrenEarlywine.com. Podcast is there. We got the Spiritual DNA all on the course. We got the book. We got a lot of content.
A lot of content
available to you. But yeah,
right.
If you say, man, I'd really need somebody to help me make some steps to become who I was born to be, go to roguecollectivecoaching.com, book a discovery call, and we'll start the process.
Yeah, do it. And I know we've worked together for a while, so I'm very excited to see this next iteration of the Rogue Collective Coaching, even more on DarrenEarlywine.com. And he's got the podcast, the Darren Early Wine podcast.
Yep.
So go check that out, and you can be inspired each and every day, or once it gets warmer, when you're on a mowing your grass,
going on a walk.
It's going to happen.
Not being frozen in your house like we are right now.
Yeah, it's awful. So, well, Darren, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the invitation, dude.
And as always, I want you to remember, you end with the three things.
I do.
I want you to end with yours, and then I'm going to do mine because I've copied off of you a little bit. So at the end of your podcast, you always say,
until we talk again, remember these three things. God is for you, not against you. He is near you, not far away, and has created you on purpose and for a purpose.
Oh, I love it. And what I want you to remember is that you are an artist, and that you need to do the hard work of bringing your voice out into the world and get out there and create your art. And so until next time on the Coaching with Content podcast, go create some art. It's going to be awesome. We'll see you then.